The massive mansion stands tall in the middle of the city's most luxurious neighborhood, a symbol of Nora's undeniable success. From the height of the large windows, she looked out at her vast grounds, her heart rising with pride. She recalled the long nights of waking up and the untold sacrifices that had brought her to this moment. Wealthy, powerful, and respected, Nora is the epitome of a successful woman. Next to her was Dermot, the husband she trusted, who also seemed satisfied with the fruits of their lives, though his gaze contained a hint of insecurity that Nora didn't realize. "Is this what people call heaven on earth?" Dermot asked, his voice gentle but unemotional. Nora smiled, reached out and grabbed his hand. Her voice warm but somewhat reserved. "Yes, Dermot. This is all I've ever dreamed of, and this is just the beginning." Nora built her empire with sweat, tears, and relentless dedication. Long nights of hard work have become her rhythm of life, a motivation for her to move forward, despite many difficulties. Dermot admired her determination and iron will, but it was also this that made him feel a lack in his heart. She was so busy with work that she forgot what he really needed in this life. "Let's go to dinner," Nora said, her voice softer and more relaxed than ever. "I booked a table at a restaurant I liked." "You deserve it, Dermot." He smiled, nodded in agreement, but there was something unreal in that smile, a lack of sincere joy. Nora turned around, adjusted the earrings in the mirror, not noticing the change in his expression. When Nora returned to fix the earring in the mirror, Dermot glanced at her reflection in the glass. He hurriedly concealed the fleeting contempt in his eyes before returning to a calm and smiling expression. Nora, now completely absorbed in her appearance and plans for the evening, did not notice the slightest change in his eyes. Nora's world revolves around business deals, contracts, and important decisions. She believes that Dermot is the ideal partner, someone with whom she can share her life and ambitions. But Dermot is a man with his own desires, youthful, charming, and insecure. He married Nora not only because of her talent, but also because of the comfortable and full life she brought. That night, Nora received a call that she couldn't refuse. She left the dining room, leaving Dermot alone in the dining room. He looked at her, discomfort rising in his heart. When Nora was gone, Dermot quietly pulled out his phone. His hand quickly typed a short message. "Everything is ready. See me right away." After sending the message, he put his phone in his pocket and drank the whole glass of wine. His face remained calm, and even showed grace. When Nora returned, she didn't notice anything out of the ordinary. For her, this was just one of the times Dermot went out to meet friends or go out for drinks alone. She trusted him completely and was too busy with work to notice small changes in his behavior. "Have a good evening," Nora said, placing a kiss on his cheek before returning to her work. Dermot smiled, stepping out into the dark with a clear purpose. Dermot drove quickly to a dim parking lot just outside the neighborhood, where Hubert, a young associate of Nora's, was waiting for him. Upon arrival, Dermot quickly got out of the car and approached Hubert. "Are you ready?" Dermot asked, his voice low and hurried. Hubert nodded, crossing his arms and leaning against his car. "Everything is ready. She'll drive off tomorrow morning to the meeting. No one doubts it." Dermot smiled slightly. His face was cold, but his eyes lit up. "Good. This is our chance. Once she's gone, all she builds will be mine, ours." Hubert looked into Dermot's eyes, excitement palpable on his face. "We're going to master everything." Both men stood there, sharing a sinister plan, greed, and contempt for Nora that pushed them to this point. Meanwhile, Nora is completely unaware that the people she trusts the most are plotting to harm her. Meanwhile, a street girl named Rashima, looking for shelter from the cold, stumbled upon Dermot's car driving into the parking lot. She was curious and decided to sneak closer, hiding herself in the dark, watching the conversation of the two men. When the conversation ended, Rashima had time to hear their entire plan. She realized that the person they were targeting was Nora, a name she had heard of, mentioned with admiration by passers-by. Rashima felt heavy and confused, not knowing what to do. She had no family, no shelter, and almost everyone around her ignored her presence. She had learned to live invisibly. As long as she didn't bother anyone, she could survive the day. But this time, when he heard of the plan to assassinate Nora, Rashima couldn't continue his silence. She felt she needed to do something. After Dermot and Hubert leave, Rashima sneaks away, determined to find a way to save Nora. The next morning, as Nora was about to leave the house for a meeting, Rashima waited outside the gate of the mansion, nervous, worried, and repeated in her mind what she was going to say. When she saw Nora's shiny car slowly leaving the gate, Rashima hurriedly ran back, raising her hand and waving, hoping to attract attention. The car stopped. Nora lowered the glass door, her eyes showing discomfort and curiosity. "What are you doing?" Nora asked, her voice full of frustration. Rashima, with a panicked expression, quickly said, "I need to tell you about your safety. It's important." Rashima's voice was trembling but also full of determination. Nora frowned, surprised. "You have a minute to speak." Rashima took a deep breath and continued, "I heard a conversation last night. Her husband and a man named Hubert were planning something. They damaged your brakes, wanted it to look like an accident, and then took everything from you." Nora glared at Rashima, a bewildered expression. "That's ridiculous. My husband won't do that." Rashima didn't let Nora have time to refute, and hurriedly continued, "I know it sounds crazy, but I'm telling the truth. She just needs to check the brakes of the car before going. If I'm wrong, you can ignore me, but if I'm right..." In despair, Rashima stopped. The suspicion in Nora's eyes began to flare, and although she didn't want to believe the words of a strange street girl, a part of her was still worried. She decides to do as Rashima says and calls a mechanic to come and check it out. Nora felt a chill run down her spine as the mechanic confirmed that her car's brakes had been tampered with. Everything seemed to collapse in that moment. The person she trusted the most, her husband, was plotting to betray her. Rashima saw the change in Nora's eyes, knowing that she had realized the truth. Nora turned to look at Rashima, and her voice was low. "Get in the car, we need to talk." Rashima hesitated for a moment, but then decided to get into the car, without saying anything more. Nora drove away from the mansion, heading to a quiet and secluded place where the two could chat comfortably. During the trip, Rashima recounted the entire conversation she had heard the night before, detailing every word that Dermot and Hubert had said about the plan to get rid of Nora. Nora listened intently, resentment and pain intertwined in her heart, but she didn't allow herself to break down. The feeling of betrayal was strong, but it was the fire that stimulated her determination. When Rashima finished the story, Nora was silent for a while, thinking about everything. Finally, she said, "Thank you for having the courage to stand up. She did something that very few people could do. Now I need you to help me." Not only did Nora feel gratitude, but she also realized that Rashima might be the only person she could rely on right now. The two begin to formulate a plan, not only to expose Dermot and Hubert's plot, but also to ensure that they will pay the price for this betrayal. Nora began to take action immediately. She contacted her lawyer to revise the will, adding an important clause to prevent Dermot from inheriting any property if something happened to her under suspicious circumstances. Meanwhile, she also plans to create a fake accident, so that everything looks as if Dermot's plan has succeeded. She needed to make him believe that everything had gone according to his will, so that he wouldn't have any doubts. The next morning, news of Nora's tragic accident quickly spread. Dermot, with Hubert's help, begins to play the role of a grieving husband, receiving condolences with a sad expression. He played the role so brilliantly, with fake tears and no shortage of suffering. Hubert stood by his side, not showing any doubts, convinced that their plan had succeeded. However, while everyone is believing in Nora's death, Rashima continues to quietly help Nora. She was taken to a safe place, where together they monitored Dermot and Hubert's every move, gathering all evidence of their conspiracy. Soon, Nora and Rashima discover that the two traitors begin planning to steal her property. When it came time to read the will, what Dermot and Hubert had hoped for was completely broken. Nora's lawyer reads a clause in the will, which prevents Dermot and Hubert from inheriting any of her estate. Before she could react, Nora appeared, stunned everyone in the room. "Are you surprised to see me?" Nora asked, her voice calm but cold. Dermot stood silent, unable to utter a word, while Hubert still kept a blank face, not daring to face her. Nora begins to recount everything she knows, every detail of their plan, making their justifications weak and meaningless. When the police arrived and arrested them, Dermot and Hubert were hopeless. When the truth was exposed, it was all over. When things have settled down and the traitors have been arrested, Nora turns to Rashima, who saves her life. "You saved my life," Nora said, her voice gentle but full of gratitude. "I'll never forget what you did." Nora, with an open heart, offers Rashima a new opportunity, a home to start life again. Rashima, who previously only knew how to live in the dark, without a family and without a place to help, now has a chance to change his fate. Nora gives Rashima a safe space where she can rebuild her life. As time passed, the friendship between them grew closer and closer. The two have built a relationship based on mutual trust and respect. Nora teaches Rashima the skills she needs to overcome life's challenges, to be able to stand firm in a world she has never experienced. Meanwhile, Rashima reminds Nora of important values such as loyalty and bravery. Together, they enter a new chapter in their lives, a promising one. Their lives have changed forever, and they have found precious things that they had never expected before. For Nora, this was an opportunity to not only restore his empire, but also to regain faith in people. As for Rashima, this is an opportunity to find a home and a future that she never dared to dream of. Together, Nora and Rashima enter a whole new phase in their lives. The events brought them closer together, creating a strong relationship. Nora not only gave Rashima a roof, but also gave her a chance to start over, a chance that Rashima never dared to think of. Meanwhile, Rashima also helps Nora realize the value of loyalty and courage, qualities that she had previously overlooked in her ambitious life. With each passing day, Rashima learns many valuable lessons from Nora, from how to work to how to face difficulties. She has become a stronger person, no longer afraid to face the world out there. As for Nora, she learned that sometimes trust and kindness can make a profound difference in life. This relationship not only helped her rebuild her empire, but it also helped her restore her faith in human dignity. Certainly, what happened completely changed the lives of both of them. Not only does Nora recover what she lost, but she also has a loyal friend and a wonderful partner. As for Rashima, she has found a home and a bright future, which previously seemed unattainable. The two have entered a new chapter, full of hope and opportunity, not only for themselves but also for those around them. With what they have experienced, Nora and Rashima's lives are no longer the same as before. Events have changed them, helping them realize that sometimes friendship and loyalty are the most important things in life. Although their origins are very different, the connection between the two is deeper, not only based on gratitude but also by the values they have learned from each other. Nora not only recovers the empire she has built, but also finds strength in sincere relationships. The relationship with Rashima is not only a lifesaver for her, but also a source of motivation for her to look back at who she is and the decisions she has made. As for Rashima, she not only found a safe haven but also learned and matured, a future she never dared to hope for. She is no longer a girl who wanders in the dark, but someone who has goals and desires to live a meaningful life. Their relationship became a testament to the strength of humanity and courage. It's an opportunity for both of them to rebuild their lives, to face new challenges. But this time, they won't be alone. They have found in each other the strength to start over, to rise and write hopeful stories in their lives.